Today, I thought I would bring my number one man onto the video to do voiceovers with me. How are you, Alex?
Hello, I'm doing great. Everything's amazing.
Good, that's good to hear. We've been watching a lot of Downton Abbey lately, haven't we?
Yes.
We're on, season 4, right?
Yes, season 4, in the middle of it.
As you may be able to see may have seen from the thumbnail of this video, that's what inspired me to do this drawing. I like seeing the different outfits that characters wear on the show. What about you, Alex?
Yes, it's a very interesting period of fashion, transition from beginning of the 20th century to what we have today. And it's pretty cool to see how the fashion slowly evolves from the early 20th century until right now. Season 4 is 1923, and there's already been a lot of changes.
So what fashion accessories would you say are your favorite to see on the show?
Well, for me it's kind of jewelry, the tiaras, for some reason married women, at least that's how I perceive it, married women in the show have tiaras, which for me it's kind of something awkward that now you don't see it ever except in the fancy magazines of the royal family.
I think it's awkward too, seeing the tiaras. Well, in America, people usually wear the tiaras. Well, they get them at some dollar store or something, really cheap plastic, and they wear it at maybe bachelorette parties or something, right?
Yeah, there's no nobility in the US or a reason for any social class to wear tiaras.
Yeah, out of the ones made out of real, gems. Now, do you have a favorite character on the show?
I like, what's her name? Violet?
Yes.
Yeah.
The grandmother.
Yes,
lady.
She's my favorite. In fact, I think the character that you are drawing, I imagine her to be Violet when she was young. That's how I imagine.
And for those of you who do not know who Violet is on the show, it's the one played by Maggie Smith, who is Professor McGonagall from the Harry Potter movies. I would have to say that maybe one of my favorite female characters on the show is Mrs. Patmore the cook.
Yeah, she's really good.
Your favorite and my favorite are both really sassy old ladies. So, as you may start being able to see from the video, I've put this character of mine in a summer garden party outfit. However, now it is becoming autumn. Pretty much is autumn now, right? It's September.
Yes, it's getting chilly and the leaves are starting to fall.
The kids are going back to school, as we've seen. And we were both talking about how it's our favorite season, right?
Yes,
Fall.
It's my favorite season. Mainly in the East Coast in the US. Definitely my favorite season.
Oh yeah, because you can see it happening.
And
the leaves turning.
Halloween.
Is that your favorite holiday?
Yes.
Really?
However, it's not a real holiday, right? Because nobody stops working. It's not like 4th of July.
It's still considered a holiday.
Yes, I know. It's an awkward thing to say to be a holiday where you still have to go to work. But okay, I understand.
I didn't realize Halloween was your favorite holiday. Huh.
That's true.
Wow. Do you have plans to dress up this year?
I have a terrible imagination to dress up, so yeah, I don't have any plans, but I'm really looking forward to seeing people dressed up, and it would be great to see people dressed up as characters in Downton Abbey. That would be pretty cool. I hope someone gets inspired with your drawing.
I really doubt it.
That'd be cool.
It seems that I usually start watching popular shows years after they've ended or were in their prime.
Yeah, this same here. But this show was definitely very popular. Everybody was talking about it. Um, I really like the setting. It's not I normally, you know me, I don't normally like period or films or
That's so
series.
true. You don't like those BBC shows and movies that I really like.
Yeah, like what's it called? Sense and Sensibility, those Jane Austen kind of things.
Yeah. And I thought maybe you didn't like it because you don't like, all the characters making a fuss out of trivial matters. Is that why?
I don't know, just because nothing happens. I never related to that. But this one I really do. I think it's really well done at all levels, not just, it's not just about the high class or the working class, it's about everyone. And it seems to me to be very unbiased. It kind of reminds me that show also I think it's from ABC also, called The Midwife. I also liked it a lot.
Oh, Call the Midwife. Yeah, we watched it together.
It also seemed to be very unbiased. I liked it a lot.
Now, I don't want to spoil Downton Abbey for anybody who hasn't watched it yet and wants to, but let's just briefly talk about characters being killed off of shows because their actors maybe wanted to move on or whatever, didn't want to be on the show anymore. Have you seen that happen in other shows?
To my knowledge, that I have been aware of, no. To be honest, it's also not a subject that I've ever been interested about. I've never researched about that happening. However, I really think this is a huge spoiler to talk about it. But
yeah, we shouldn't talk about who.
Yes, but it for me it was the first time I saw something like that. In previous shows, whenever an actor wanted to leave or an actress, they would just be replaced.
But we don't like that either, huh? We were watching Sense8, which is a Netflix original show, and one of the characters, Capheus, was replaced. The actor, I mean, for the second season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it totally, it just didn't feel the same.
So Vicky, what inspired you to draw this character?
Well, this character, I wanted to, make a delicate, lovely looking, lady. So, and actually in high school, I used to draw this one original character of mine over and over again, and she was a redhead with green eyes, and I guess I kind of remembered that again and wanted this woman to also have kind of, that reddish auburn hair and the sea green eyes. I think it's a really nice combination.
So you know that now we are on season 4, right?
Yeah.
This First World War has happened, so the series started with Titanic, after the accident of Titanic. And what do you think is this time at which this character was drawn?
I remember seeing more of these outfits later in the seasons.
Like the simple outfits without the folds.
Right.
Is that it? Okay.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
See how simple it is, like even the hat. It's, yeah, definitely an outfit that I've seen later in the seasons. So we know from the show that a lot of the show is set in the house, because that's where all the action happens.
Yeah, the show is about the house.
Yeah, and how it runs.
Yeah.
But I guess which set still would you say are the most interesting ones you've seen?
Well, inside of the house, I have a thing for kitchens, and I know that a lot happens in the kitchen. But it's one of my favorites for sure. Seeing how the technology for cooking evolves. Now they're actually getting the first electrical appliances, which is pretty cool. Outside, I have something for equestrian motives and equestrian sets. So there haven't been many horse scenes, and actually I think the one that was the longest horse scene was for something terrible, which is kind of fox hunting, which is not forbidden in England, thankfully. But it's something that I've always liked, appreciated the fashion and the design and the atmosphere associated to equestrian activity. So I also like that in the outside. What about you? What is your favorite inside and outside sets?
I guess I'm not sure. I always like seeing. Oh, actually, I like seeing the inside of their private bedrooms because I like seeing the ladies' vanities with all those fancy-looking perfume bottles and whatnot. And actually, a really funny thing, I didn't realize that they had biscuit jars in each room. And just in case they got hungry between meals, I guess, and they were in their room, it's a jar full of biscuits.
So something they don't give any detail, at least that I am aware or that I recognize, is anything about hygiene. So you don't see people brushing their teeth or,
We did see one of the servants washing his face with the basin, the bowl basin,
Yeah.
and a pitcher of water, but that's about it, huh?
My great-grandmother used to have one of those. I remember that.
Oh, your great-grandmother?
Yes.
Oh. By the way, just to give a little more background on Alex, he's actually from Portugal. that tiny country by Spain, in case any of you Americans like me have forgotten that important fact.
A lot of Portuguese will now start writing comments and swearing against you and insulting you because they're so proud about the awesomeness of Portugal, and they always get offended when Americans don't know where their country is.
But I knew where it was.
I know, I'm joking. It's just a joke.
Yes, let's hope it's just a
No,
joke.
it's a typical joke. Like, it's as old as I can remember. People have always made that joke.
But I would like. We should do videos, voiceovers in the future that are based on Portuguese topics.
Yeah, and actually, to be honest with you, this is about the English, BBC series set up in England, in the countryside. This was very famous in Portugal also. I normally hear about these series first from my Portuguese friends, then from my American friends. And this was a very, very popular series in Portugal.
Now, remind me again what that movie was we saw together. The only Portuguese movie I feel like I've seen that is also set in olden times.
Yeah,
What was
but
that called?
way older than these.
Right.
So that was, I think, let me see if I remember. So that was after the Napoleonic Wars.
But do you remember what that movie was called?
No, I don't remember. But
Oh.
yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
But it was after the Napoleonic War. So after that, in Portugal, there was a war between the liberals and conservatives. There were basically two kings that they were siblings, and one was liberal, the other one was more conservative, and they basically divided the country in two. And there was actually a civil war, and it was about that. It was set in those times.
All I remember is the main character growing up to be a really uppity young man.
Yeah. And also there was tuberculosis. So that was, it's one of those, based in one of those novels where, a very important character dies of tuberculosis, and that's a big tragedy. Yeah.
And in Downton Abbey, I feel like so far the biggest illness we've seen is what was it? The Spanish influenza?
Yeah.
What
So
was it?
it actually was a terrible. I think it's a type A flu. Very similar to the swine flu that happened in the US, I think 5 years or 6 years ago, or even more, 7 years ago. And it killed a lot of people in Europe. It wiped out a lot of people, for example, during the First World War.
Oh my gosh, the time really flies when I do the voiceover with you. I think I'm gonna start having you do it with me as much as possible, if that's okay.
We should also talk about what's being drawn, right?
Of course.
I think you did a great job with the gloves. It's I'm not an expert in drawing technique at all. Never been trained.
I kind of wanted her flesh to be seen through the little gloves, because
Yeah.
they're supposed to be lace gloves.
Yeah, it's a beautiful detail. And
Thank you.
I really love her hat also and the color of the skirt.
Thank you.
It's really good. I like it a lot.
Now, everybody, I hope you've enjoyed the video and the voiceover. We'd love to hear some comments, likes, whatever. And I hope you all have a nice day and maybe watch Downton Abbey. I feel like that's all we've talked about, really, right?
Yes, I strongly recommend. Nowadays TV is filled with amazing shows, so it's one more.
And thank you for being on the show today, Alex.
Thank you, it was my pleasure.
Yay! Until next time, bye bye!